Welcome to Interview, a production of the Government Information Service. I am your host, Jacques Hinkson Compton, and I'm here with Mr. Craig Henry, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund, or the NCF. And we're here to talk about a call for concept notes for projects that support community economic recovery and food security through nature-based activities.
Sure.
Now, before we get to the real meat of it, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the NCF is and its role?
Okay, well, thank you, Jacques, for having me here today and giving me the opportunity to speak of this very important opportunity for St. Lucia. The St. Lucia National Conservation Fund is considered to be a conservation trust fund. Mm-hmm. We are part of what we call the sustainable finance architecture for conservation-oriented activities or projects that is at the core of which is managed by the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund. Mm-hmm. So we have two principal roles, in fact, and they're interconnected. We do fundraising. Mm-hmm. Of course, we seek funds to carry out our work program and, of course, our operations. And then we do what we call grant making. That is, we organize or create various grant schemes so that local groups, community-based organizations, local NGOs, mm-hmm. public and private sector agencies can get access to funds to undertake various initiatives that are related to conservation, biodiversity protection, livelihoods. So that's it, the two dual roles, fundraising and on granting. The Conservation Fund, or SLUNCF, is very young. We are legally incorporated in 2016. And I am, as a matter of fact, the second CEO. My predecessor was Dr. Vasanta Chis. Mm-hmm. So essentially, what we are working with is we do not implement projects, but we work in collaboration with other agencies to support a range of what you call, if you want to call them, initiatives or activities that support national priorities that relate to natural resource management, mm-hmm. Restoration of our natural ecosystems, community development in terms of livelihood support. Mm-hmm. So we do have a board, the 11-member board, that encompass representation from both the public sector, private sector, and of course civil society. And I must say, as a small organization, we have a very ambitious program, mm-hmm. and that mandate we take seriously. But we also recognize that a very opportune mechanism that is designed to have a sustainable, or I should say, I don't want to use these big terms, but mm-hmm. so that people can understand that it's a mechanism that will allow us, or St. Lucia, to have access to funding over a long period of time. That's what we call sustainable finance, that's the jargon. But to say the least, the uniqueness is that we have the flexibility to work with our local partners, to work with our local agencies, to design these projects, to help them implement them, to build a capacity for that. So, given especially the current state of our economy, the pressures that we're facing, not only from natural disasters, but also the current environment with the pandemic. People have lost jobs, mm-hmm. Cost of living has gone up considerably, and we still need to see whether or not how we can develop our communities despite these conditions, these unfavorable conditions. We decided at the fund to design this program, mm-hmm. Like a micro-grant program that would focus on seeing how we could bring some hope back to the communities in the form of relief. So although we say economic relief, but it's also a way of engendering some sort of confidence and positivity within the community to see, okay, we are going through a recovery process despite the challenges, but there is that opportunity. So given that we are focusing on nature-based activities, the intent is, of course, to ensure that we address a major concern for us in St. Lucia, which is food security. We have a very huge import bill related to food, but then we also note that the quality of food, despite that we have this huge import bill, the quality of food that we have, despite the demographics that you look at, access to good quality food is an issue. Our food production as well has gone down, affected by various, again, the hurricanes, but also the lack of, I should say, the lack of activity in the economy and access to funds, because if you look at the chain very well, the folks are unemployed. Usually community groups are made up of people who have their own jobs, but they have something on the side that they contribute to create a livelihood.
Okay, let me just stop you there just for a brief second. We're actually due for our first break,
Sure.
so we'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah.
You're watching Interview. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Yeah.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join revolution.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Welcome back to Interview. I'm your host, Jacques Kingston Compton, and we're talking with the CEO of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. So tell us a little bit about the concept notes for the project.
Okay, so I'll just go a little bit of a technical issue related to this. So within the grant making program, the way that we solicit proposals from the general public is usually through calls for proposals. So we are now at the first stage of this process, which is call for concept notes. It's just a brief explanation as to what idea, what you are trying to accomplish. Now in this particular case, we have tried to provide guidance as to what projects or what type of projects or initiatives that can come from any, like I said, both public or private sector and civil society that would be eligible for funding under this particular call. So with regards to this one now, we're focusing on nature-based activities. And you will right away figure out that these are activities that are undertaken by community groups as well. So you have to, one of the things that we do not fund individual projects. Like I would come and say, well, I need $50,000 to do this. No. What we do is we focus on the community groups, we focus on private business, even government agencies can apply. Any project or initiative that addresses food security, improves our food production, increases capacity for that. If you need to revise your, update your production methods, you have to go undergo some type of training or certification. These things can qualify. We note that we have honey farmers, but you have groups that have been organized in terms of apiculture groups. You have groups, CMOS farmers, you have associations. They may have activities, again, that are in line with that. And so they also qualify. Perhaps a government agency has a particular program that they need to start right away, to support, again, along the same lines, food production. And of course, these activities have to be environmentally sustainable.
Of course.
So we should not, or we anticipate that there will be very minimal, if no, impact on the biodiversity. Our natural resources are not damaged in any way, so on and so forth.
So how does one apply?
So so if you go to our website, www.sluncf.org, right away, of course, the home screen, given that this is a new call, this is what will welcome you, and then there are various links that will take you to the pages that will allow you to apply directly. We've made it very simple on the website. If per chance then there is an issue with your access to the website, you're available to call one of us at the SLUNCF, and we can provide further guidance. So we've made the application process very simple. Like I said, this is the initial call for concept notes. So, and then after that, let us say that your concept note is approved, then we go to the stage where we say, okay, it's approved, so we can allow you to apply for the full proposal, right? So the range in terms of project totals is between 2,000 US and 20,000. So anything within that range you can fund. You can apply for the full amount, 20,000 US dollars for what you believe, but then you need to provide specifics in terms of what you're going to use that money for. But like I said, the concept note process or writing it up is very simple. But if there is an issue, if you need some assistance,
you can call.
You can call.
When is the deadline?
So the calls for proposals open up from November 19th. Well, the call for concept notes,
Right.
November 19th, and we go all the way up to January 21st, 2022.
And I understand the project itself that you would undertake, it can only be completed under about 15 months?
Within 15 months, yes. Within 15. For such a small grant, you have to anticipate that something can be accomplished within 15 months. A very important note, it doesn't have to be a new initiative. It could be something that you're already working on. For instance, the group has already established, an example, a CMOS farm, and they need to expand, they need to scale it up, or they need to get packaging and so on and so forth, some training, that sort of stuff. So for new initiatives, existing initiatives, or if you need to scale up or scale out, as we say in the industry, the opportunities are there.
Okay, we've actually come to the end of the program. If there's anything that you want to add before we go?
Well, just that I'm going to encourage. This is a very exciting time, and this is a very unique opportunity given, of course, our current climate. We're hoping that as many people as possible visit the website and take advantage of this opportunity made available by the SLUNCF.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Henry, for coming on our program.
Sure.
I hope you can come again to just discuss the developments in the program.
Sure, we would definitely like to give you the updates as they come through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You're watching Interview, a production of the Government Information Service. Please stay tuned to NTN for other programming, and go onto our website or our Facebook page or our YouTube channel for several other programs from the Government Information Service.